Well, welcome to the news review segment of the show. Of course, I do this every morning when she's available. Mama V.
When she's available.
So, now in Parliament, you are trotting all over the place, doing your thing, strutting your stuff.
I'm going to go back to Parliament this morning, by
indeed.
the way, because we have a conversation. You know, midnight today, this 7th Parliament will dissolve. And then the 8th Parliament. So we're engaging one MP who is leaving. Charlie, it's his last day in Parliament today, and another who survived it, so he's going to go into the 8th Parliament.
Interesting. I mean, I look forward to those discussions because then, I mean, the feel is so different when you're a returnee or when you're not returning. It's so different, and they can say certain things when they are not going back. So I'll be looking out for some of those.
But yesterday I noticed something after the address. I don't know if it's just me in my mind, but you see those who lost. I felt that they were more available. I don't know, like I'm just...
It's exactly what I'm talking about. There's this thing lifted off you. I mean, when you're still going back, you are cautious of what you're saying and all of that. But Charlie, if you're not coming back, it's
yeah, but some of them are still looking forward to
illiterate, for example, at a point, seeding and not feeling very free and not, giving a hoot about too many things.
Well, some will also want to catch the eye of the president. I don't know if it's too late because there will be ministerial appointments. So maybe they want to talk to us more so they can be visible, if you like.
You never know. And for those members of parliament who have lost, their seats, it remains to be seen. Someone like the member of parliament, his name just gets out of my mind. Lekma Hospital. Okoboy. His deputy health ministerial position, for example. I mean, so we'll be gauging these dynamics and we'll see what happens in the next few weeks.
He's a good communicator, so I'm hoping that they can maintain that position of deputy health minister. But hey, listen, we wait to see, I guess.
Right, let's dig into the papers then.
Let me start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Of course, the front page speaks to what happened yesterday, the State of the Nation address. And one of the significant milestones the president pointed to within the 4 years of office, Dagbon P's biggest feat, president reviews first term mandate. Also, COVID-19 delivers radiance to SONA, that's the State of the Nation address. Serene Insurance meets minimum capital requirements. Political actors, followers must work for peace, says Sam Okujeto, a member of the Council of State. That's how the front page of the paper looks like. If you go to the center spread, well, pictures from the State of the Nation address yesterday, where President Akufo-Addo welcomed Mahama's court decision. That's in the center spread of the paper. There are some other headlines really important that we should look at. So I will tell you about the other headlines, but on the back page, let's discuss Galamsey devoid of partisanship, says the president. Now, this, I guess, is one of my low moments in that address. Totally didn't expect the president to throw this back at us when in the very beginning of his administration, in the first term, remember he said that he was going to put his presidency on the line. There was a task force, a joint task force. There was a ministerial committee, different ministers put together. I mean, we've seen the fights go on. We've seen it, being halted. We've seen people mentioned. There was the excavators that were seized. There were the missing excavators. Persons mentioned. I remember Mr. Charles Bissu said he had. So many things. So I was expecting
and all of that.
I was
so many
honestly expecting him to give us an account and tell us the hurdles, but an update on the committee's, a certain report that tells us where we have come from and where we've gotten to. Of course, I know that it's stagnated. So tell us what the issues are really. But to say, let's discuss it, me and you, we can discuss it.
Yeah.
But we don't expect the president to tell us to have a conversation. We've gone back. Otherwise, then it means there's
nothing we can do. So it's basically taking the conversation back. And
then it means there's nothing that we can do.
So
that's the highest point.
I got video shots from a friend recently of the Densu River. And believe you me, I mean, things are not looking good. I'm chipping that in on the fight, on the back of the fight against Galamsey. I mean, we spent millions of cedis setting up those institutions specifically to tackle Galamsey. Then we saw what happened with the Charles Bissus and the rest, the excavators that were never able to be accounted for and all of that. So, well, it's a pretty, I agree with you. I don't feel the sort of rollover he gave it was deserving. And something else, two other issues that I feel, I mean, corruption. Corruption, for example. There was practically no talk about that. But if you recall, that was one of the things. Corruption tied to the economy and borrowing. These were crucial issues in 2016 that were campaigned on. But we're not talking about corruption anymore in the SONA and maybe any attempts at combating it. Yesterday, I was speaking with Edem Senanu, and he was expressing part of his disappointment with the fact that because he, together with the Akufo-Addos and others, went on demonstrations way back, and he may not be seeing what, and I listened to him later in the day as well on other platforms, sharing, similar sentiments. So I'm asking myself, these State of the Nation addresses really, are we given, so to speak, a proper reflection of the state of the nation? Or is it that, well, maybe we reflect our own selves in these State of the Nation addresses? But for me, there was quite a bit left that I would have wanted to hear talk about.
Well, the other side, though, President was super confident. If you look at how Parliament is equally shared now, somebody said to me, oh, I thought he would probably be intimidated, but he was super confident as always. And I felt that was good.
I
and
think
then,
yesterday,
of course, the address was also short,
yes,
which was also good for me.
Somewhat. How many minutes in there? Was it 32 minutes?
Oh.
In fact, the Center for Public Discourse Analysis, Dr. H.A. Sikanku, did a breakdown of these 32 minutes and the time he spent. I was just looking earlier to find out how much time he had spent talking about the mining sector, Galamsey, and all of that. But it was so brief that it's not even...
It was a paragraph. It was an empty paragraph for me, so I actually had to go back and read it.
Right.
Okay, let me go to page 26, still in the Daily Graphic newspaper. A 43-year-old man has died while in custody of the Mouse 7 police in the Greater Accra region, barely 24 hours after his arrest. The deceased, Daniel Omari Abuaji, was being held by the police for allegedly defrauding by false pretense. The PRO of the Greater Accra Police Command, Deputy Superintendent of Police Efia Tenge, confirmed the incident and said Abuaji died around 1:30 a.m. yesterday. She said Abuaji, who was arrested last Monday, reported sick a few hours after he was brought to the police station. He was taken to the police hospital where he was treated, discharged, and sent back to the cell. However, inmates in the police cell drew the attention of the police personnel on duty to Abuaji's motionless body and indicated that he was not responding to their calls. The police went into the cell to render aid but found Abuaji unresponsive. Meanwhile, when his body was inspected, there were no marks of assault found. His body was thus removed from the police cell and conveyed to the police hospital where Abuaji was declared dead. The corpse has since been deposited in the morgue of the same hospital. There has to be some investigation into this, and it shouldn't just be a story as I have read it. I hope that there will be more. But just, some 2 other crime-related stories. There's a father, Mauli Sosu, who is 43, a mason from Keta who sold his 2 sons, 18 and 15 years, the children. And he's also been, is it being charged? No, he's been sentenced to 8 years imprisonment in hard labor. Details of that also in the paper. I think one more. Woman 32 jailed 7 years for harming girl who is 10, Veronica Kranting, the 32-year-old woman who dipped the hands of her husband's 10-year-old niece into boiling water has been jailed 7 years with hard labor by the Odumase Krobo Circuit Court. Veronica, an undertaker, pleaded guilty to causing harm to the girl when she appeared before the court presided over by Mr. Francis Bajro, and was sentenced on her own plea on December 22, 2020. Thank God she spent the festivities in prison. How can you dip somebody's hand in hot water simply because she's not your daughter? Shame on you.
Well, a lot of these things actually happen that don't get the sort of prominence we're giving them now. And it is our hope that more will be done in that regard. Let's move on now and, check out the stories from the Daily Dispatch. Each MP to get ex gratia of 452,000 for 4 years of work. And I couldn't but dig into that one. You know, Marek Kofi
Ghani. Okay.
The
disqualified
presidential candidate. He posted something
aspiring
on Facebook. You know, interestingly, when he voted that day, he came and he posted his picture, and some felt it was comic relief. Others said, well, he was merely exercising his constitutional right. He would have voted for himself, though. He posted yesterday on Facebook, "Dear Ghanaians, do you feel a moral obligation to pay your MPs over 400,000 Ghana cedis ex gratia every 4 years for continuing to serve you? Each MP's ex gratia is enough to pay 50 youth 700 Ghana cedis a month for a year, or 2 youths who voted for them 5,000 Ghana cedis each every month for 33 years. And all of this on top of salaries and car allowances, etc., etc." It's not to demonize anybody. It's not to say that the members of parliament don't deserve what they get for what they do. But I think there's a saying, and we've heard it a lot of the time, you cut your cloth according to your, or you cut your coat according to your
But who's
cloth,
complaining?
basically. So,
has somebody said the cloth is not big enough?
If the cloth were indeed big enough, Mama View,
yes,
you
sir.
and I...
We don't work in parliament, do we?
No, we don't work in parliament, but the ordinary Ghanaian, Edruha, that's when we're battling with the state of our roads, when we're battling with poor healthcare, people still not getting access to beds when they go to hospitals, looking at even our schools, infrastructure, and all of that. And it's just sometimes mind-boggling.
I appreciate that. I just feel that sometimes I think we
You think we're flogging a dead horse?
Necessarily put the spotlight. It's as if it's only parliament. You get what I mean? It's just
it's all of them.
Exactly.
It's all of them.
So
of course, because you see, Parliament is now, looking at what the executive will get. The executive is looking at what Parliament will get. And, that's interestingly where in Parliament you will find the members of Parliament, whatever they side, that one, they agree.
In fact, when I read the story, they said, what was it? There was a certain word before they said the both sides, NDC MPP were very cooperative.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The president has been talking about cooperation. Yesterday, about 8% plus of what he said was based on bipartisan. So they understand the bipartisan thing. They understand it when it
No, but I think that we put too much focus on the MPs, to be specific. We tend to talk.
You think
about
we're not fair to them? We don't focus on.
Let's discuss if it is Article 71 office holders. What goes to? Let's discuss it as such. Get what I mean? Because we tend to take the focus off the executive.
But it doesn't change the fact that, for me, it's problematic. Whether we're focusing on just the members of parliament, and I agree that oftentimes they get the bashing, but it is the tripartite or the triad of, the executive, the legislature, and even the judiciary.
So if you spend 20 years in parliament, every 4 years, you get that? Okay, I mean, you don't get this figure, but you get a huge figure.
Anyway, so 11 walkouts, minorities record in Ghana's 7th parliament. And when you check out the story, it actually talks about some of the walkouts. I think you remember some of the famous ones. The one that immediately came to mind, even before I got into the paper, Honorable Lady Al-Hassan.
Okay. Okay.
And, the walkout.
So that was the Ayawaso West
by-election. For me, that one, there are others that I felt,
there was the State of the Nation, State of the Nation February. Yep. And then, of course, the biggest one that, thanks to CSOs, people sort of appreciated that particular workout. Ejapa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was the CSO's one. I was in Parliament. I remember so clearly because we were there covering the event and all of that. And then all of a sudden, we saw the NDC MPs coming out all clad in black and singing all sorts of patriotic songs. I remember Sam George and others and the sort of things.
I think sometimes it's frustrating, especially when you're in the minority, especially in the 7th Parliament that will be dissolved at midnight, because the gap was so huge. So they were helpless.
I mean, there's nothing you can do. Your hands are tied. Chain Mensa heads new set of majority leaders in Parliament, and it's good Mahama chose legal path of violence. That's according to Akufo-Addo. Just a snippet of this story. Less than 500 of 22,000 private schools benefited from stimulus package. That's on the back page of the Daily Dispatch. And recently, it has been mentioned, the executive director of the Ghana National Council of Private Schools, Inokwesi Jetua, mentioned that schools that have confirmed that they got some money ranging from 1 Ghana cedi to 19,000 Ghana cedis are not up to 500 out of the 22,000. So even now that schools are reopening, let's check out some other papers.
All right, let's do the Daily Guide. On the front page, I've been given clear mandate, says Akufo-Addo. Court foils NDC coup, and coup is in court at Techiman South. Supreme Court clears Amewu. Nana EC file appearance. That's on the front page of the paper. In the center spread, that's the News One Entertainment's Stonebwoy fingered in kidnapping case, says he's reportedly being chased by the police at Abuakwa near Kumasi to assist in a kidnapping case. A Sprinter bus driver identified as Akwesiche 31 was allegedly kidnapped and following a road crash. So already suspects Kwabena Kodia and Dakwa Musa Damien, said to be close associates of Stonebwoy, have been nabbed in connection with the case. And then Paul Okoye of Peace Square tests positive for COVID-19. There's also Bukom Bankun, who is said to be bleaching his skin again. And this time he says he's doing it for attention and clout. I guess I've given him volume right there.
He says he wants to look fresh. And he has eyelashes and all to accompany it.
So
yes, they are
I saw
eyelashes.
I saw this like what a week
ago. How could you miss that?
And then I thought it wasn't him. I thought maybe somebody else. Oh,
freshness level there. Nakai.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's all about the freshness.
Oh, he got my attention.
Yeah.
He wanted attention.
Yeah, he got.
But what, attention brings money?
Well, he's saying that when he realizes that his name is sort of Oyatonsuma, then he'll do something to resurrect his image. And you should check out this video, a short interview he had recently. So those are some of the...
They say he's also exhibiting some feminine tendencies by wearing eyelashes.
I think he could add some bone straight hair to that and just top it up, make the mix, very...
He wants to revive his dying influence in society. Hence, he needed to do something crazy. This bleaching is for joke. Yes. Just when my name is coming down small, then I do something.
Yes.
Then my name wakes up in Ghana and people will shout, fresh,
Shake
fresh.
yourself small.
When I'm bleaching myself, my name also wake up. But my big father told me that make us stop. So I stop. Okay.
Aren't we talking about him now?
Oh, yeah. I told you, he got my attention. That's what he wanted.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He got our attention. Well, let's check out the Finder newspaper now, very quickly. So 13 heads of state to participate in president's investiture. First-term gains laudable, that's according to the president. And Supreme Court quashes injunction on Amewu. But I wanted to just, tackle the headlines of two stories on page 15 of the paper. Asante Kotoko can beat Sudanese giants Al Hilal. And guess who's saying that? Costa Papic.
Why don't you
Heart of Oak coach. No, that's why I'm...
but do it first before you talk about it.
Costa Papic, your own.
You haven't done it.
Is saying that...
You haven't done the thing.
So
you're excited about what
and more in football. Our own Ula Gunasosha, he says, we're informed there are no excuses versus Manchester City. We are winning.
Oh, I really untenable. But
no, but he's been saying that, Charlie. Others have been saying we are title contenders, but for right now, we just chuck it. At least we are better than Leeds United.
I can't believe that's the standard.
At least we are better than Leeds United. That's the standard. No, it's not the standard. It's because you are now affiliated to them. Are you done with your papers?
Yes, I think I'm just going to skip.
All right. So I guess it's the same stories being captured by the rest of the papers. Let's go online.
All right. Before we do that, I have a special dedication to a good man, Mr. Harrison Affo, former director of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, director of administration. You are 75 years today. Happy birthday to you, sir. Mr. Harrison Affo, former director of administration of GBC, is coming from Ruth Ajololo, a.k.a. Ajo. Now we can go to myjournline.com. Okay, Ben.
All right, so let's check out some of the stories there. If there's time, maybe we'll do some BBC or CNN. But NDC nominates Alban Bagbin for Speaker of Parliament position. Then there's Amewu gets green light to take seat in 8th Parliament. Akufo-Addo's fight against Galamsey can, cost him votes in 2020 polls. Kojopong and Chroma, but we're past the 2020 polls. I don't know whether he was making reference to 2024. It's a good thing Mahama has gone to court Akufo-Addo, and then Wenchi High Court rejects interim injunction against Techiman South MP-elect. Mamavi, can you check out the rest of them?
Okay. What did you get to?
So Akufo-Addo's silence, you can start from there. Akufo-Addo's silence.
Okay, so Akufo-Addo's silence on election debts during SONA is unforgivable. So that's the minorities, Al-Hassan Sohini there. Also, we'll investigate COVID-19 funds misappropriation. That's the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu. 45 timelines, scandals, and incidents that define Ghana's 7th Parliament. Oh, do we have Boache Jaco's appearance?
You!
December 7th election was free, fair, and I won resoundingly, says President Akufo-Addo. Plenty of stories on myjournline.com.
Right.
You can go there and explore.
So right before the break, and we can move on from there. Just a quick one on Twitter. Do you follow any basketball ever?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so I do religiously, and the San Antonio Spurs beat the LA Clippers. If you were into that, you would understand why I'm putting this there. But interestingly, trending at number 3, Tom Brown. Tom Brown has been trending. Yes, Tom Brown.
As in Tom Brown?
Yes.
As in somebody's name or the Tom Brown?
Okay, so I know what you mean. But there's a Tom Brown on Twitter who is causing Tom Brown to trend. And it's all about the Tom Brown we eat.
Okay. And is it Ghana's Tom Brown?
Oh, yeah, it is Ghana's Tom Brown. And people are putting recipes and all there. You know, we joke matter.
But Tom Brown isn't all one way.
People are, the additions. Now, people are doing some interesting things with that.
Okay.
Like even the kind
You're a great cook, so how else would you do the Tom Brown?
You always have to go there.
Oh, I'm looking for tips.
It's not even about when you're done with it. It's about
the presentation.
Exactly.
Okay.
And maybe the milk, the type of milk to add. I mean, people are talking about that. Oh, this is better, that is better.
Okay. So what would you add?
Well, I actually don't add milk. I'm not too much of a fan of. Okay. If I would do milk, it would be powdered milk. I don't like too much of evaporated milk. So sometimes I just do it without.
So that would be the finished product. That's your presentation?
Yeah, I wouldn't for myself. Okay. I wouldn't add anything.
Well, just for show, I'd probably put some fresh strawberries on it.
Really? So maybe the difference would be that I would add honey. I use a lot of it. So I'll do honey in it. That's it. Strawberries power.
I don't like Tom Brown, by the way.
Strawberry Tom Brown. Anyway, so this is how we wrap up the news review. Thank you, and do stay tuned. There's more coming your way next.